Midjourney or one of the 6 alternatives I looked at? Which one should you actually use? I ran all 6 through the exact dimensions designers care about, kept a running scoreboard, and I'll tell you exactly which tool fits which situation, because the tool with the best price to features ratio isn't the one most people land on when they leave. Midjourney is the aesthetic king, moody, painterly, best-in-class looks, but no free trial, a Discord-first interface, and rate limits that bite hard. And the 6 alternatives are Stable Diffusion, DALL-E 3, Leonardo AI, Ideogram 2.0, Playground AI, and Google Imagen 3. So let's find out which one actually fixes what drove you away. Alternative 1, Stable Diffusion, the open weight escape, and the number that matters here is $0 per month, because it's free to self-host, though that $0 figure is kind of a trap if you don't know what you're signing up for, because you're trading Midjourney's managed polish for full local control, and the learning curve is steep, really steep. I looked at the architecture split, and here's what actually happened. Stable Diffusion wins on cost and control, free to run, full model access, no rate limits, but Midjourney wins out-of-box polish, that moody, painterly consistency you get on day one with zero setup. And there's no direct quality benchmark here, because this is an architecture choice, not a score, and that distinction matters a lot. Stable Diffusion is a skip as a direct Midjourney replacement, but a strong recommended if local control and zero subscription cost are your actual priority, because the risk of choosing wrong here is committing to a steep setup, only to realize you just wanted pretty images fast, and that puts Midjourney at 1 win, Stable Diffusion at 1 win, and the scoreboard is already telling you this isn't a simple swap. I've spent more hours inside these tools than I'd like to admit, and the architecture trap on Stable Diffusion is the one that bites people hardest. So drop a comment if you've gone down that rabbit hole and came back to a subscription anyway. Alternative 2, DALL-E 3, the accessible all-rounder, and a lot of people leaving Midjourney already have a ChatGPT subscription, which means DALL-E 3 is sitting right there, included, no extra charge. So the objection I hear is that it's not as artistic as Midjourney, and that's fair. But the real question is whether the accessibility gap is big enough to matter for your actual workflow. Look at what happens when you compare these on text rendering and instruction following. DALL-E 3 is more accurate with prompts and better at putting readable text inside an image, community reported across multiple sources, while Midjourney still takes the aesthetic crown. Moody, painterly, cinematic output. That DALL-E 3 just doesn't match. So you're picking between literal accuracy and artistic feel, and those are genuinely different jobs. DALL-E 3 is recommended if accessibility and text rendering are your pain points, and I didn't expect it to pull ahead on instruction following, but the data is pretty clear on that, so the safer pick for someone who just wants to test an alternative without paying anything extra is DALL-E 3, and that evens the scoreboard at 1 win each for the alternatives versus Midjourney's aesthetic hold. Alternative 3, Leonardo AI, the creative toolkit, and Midjourney's Discord first interface is a genuine pain point, because if you've ever lost a generation in a busy Discord channel or tried to edit an image inside Discord and given up, you know exactly what I mean. And Leonardo AI is fully web-based and adds an AI canvas and a video generator that Midjourney simply doesn't have. I had to run this one twice because the toolset gap is real. Leonardo AI wins on creative tools, AI canvas, video generator, and a web interface that doesn't require Discord, but Midjourney wins on output style, that artistic, surreal, cinematic quality that Leonardo's more realistic and crisp outputs don't replicate, and community consensus across multiple sources backs both sides of that split. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Leonardo AI is recommended for the creative toolkit dimension, and the web interface alone makes it a safer daily driver than Midjourney's Discord setup for a lot of people. So Midjourney holds the aesthetic edge, and the score moves to Midjourney 2 wins, alternatives 2 wins, and the pattern is getting pretty clear. Midjourney keeps the art crown. Alternatives keep winning on everything around it. Alternative 4, Ideogram 2.0, the text and image specialist, and Midjourney's text rendering is a known weak spot. Because if you've ever generated a poster or a logo concept, and the text came out garbled or misspelled, you felt exactly why this alternative exists, and Ideogram 2.0 has a strong community reputation for getting readable, accurate text inside generated images, which is a genuinely different use case from pure aesthetics. What got me here is how thin the hard evidence actually is. Ideogram 2.0 wins on in-image text reputation, widely discussed across the community. But there's no direct scored benchmark, it's directional and community reported, and Midjourney still leads on aesthetic quality across multiple sources. So Ideogram 2.0 wins the specific job of text and image, but the evidence base is thinner than I'd like. Ideogram 2.0 is recommended if text and image is your specific pain point, and the risk of skipping it is real if you're doing poster work or type-heavy designs, so Midjourney keeps the aesthetic win, and the score is now Midjourney 3, alternatives 2, and the safer pick for anyone doing text-heavy creative work is Ideogram 2.0, full stop. Okay, so Midjourney is ahead on aesthetics, but there are still 2 alternatives to go, and one of them is the only tool in this list that beats Midjourney on price, has a free trial, and has an API, and the other one is Google's entry that does something on prompt adherence that could flip the whole decision for a specific type of designer, and both of those are coming up right now. Alternative 5, Playground AI, the budget-friendly alternative, and Midjourney's basic plan runs you $10 a month with no free trial. So you're paying before you've seen a single output, while Playground AI Pro is $15 a month, but comes with a free trial, a native API, and an iOS app that Midjourney doesn't have. So the question is whether that extra $5 a month buys you enough to justify the switch. Alright, so when I looked at the full feature set, Playground AI wins on price with a free trial, wins on features with a native API and iOS app, and even edges Midjourney on user ratings. 4.1 versus 4.0 on TechJockey, which is close but real, and I'll be straight that the ratings gap is marginal. But the free trial and API are clear wins with hard sourcing behind them. Playground AI is a strong recommended, and the risk of staying on Midjourney when Playground AI gives you a free trial, an API, and a mobile app for $5 more a month is just hard to justify for most people. So Midjourney still holds the aesthetic edge, and the score moves to Midjourney 4 wins, alternatives 3 wins, with Playground AI now the most complete replacement on the board. Alternative 6, Google Imagen 3, the prompt-faithful workhorse, and Midjourney V8 completes generations in under 10 seconds, which sounds fast, but the real issue is prompt adherence. Because if you've ever given Midjourney a detailed prompt with specific object placement or exact text and gotten back something that kind of looks right but misses the details, that's the exact failure mode Google Imagen 3 was built to fix. I was expecting Google Imagen 3 to be a strong all-rounder, and it is on prompt adherence and text rendering, community reported and single source. But Midjourney hits back hard on vivid, human-like image quality across multiple sources, so Imagen 3 is precise and literal. Midjourney is expressive and vivid, and those are genuinely different strengths depending on whether you're doing technical work or artistic output. Google Imagen 3 is recommended for prompt-faithful, text-heavy technical work, and the risk of using Midjourney for that job is real because you'll keep re-prompting to get the details right, so the final score is Midjourney 5 wins, alternatives 4 wins across 6 tools. And Midjourney's aesthetic dominance is real, but every single alternative wins on at least one dimension that matters. So why do people leave Midjourney? No free trial, a paywall before you've seen a single output, rate limits that hit hard on the basic plan, model nerfing that's removed art style options over time, increasingly strict content moderation, and a Discord-first interface that's genuinely cumbersome compared to any web-based alternative. And those are the 5 real pain points driving the search. Midjourney still wins when you need best-in-class aesthetic output, moody lighting, rich textures, that painterly feel that no alternative matches out of the box. And it also wins when you want a managed, polished experience without the steep learning curve of self-hosting or deep prompt tuning. And if you rely on its distinctive artistic style range and don't need text and image rendering, nothing else comes close. If you're leaving Midjourney and you want the most complete, budget-friendly replacement with a free trial and an API, Playground AI is your pick at $15 a month. And if you need open-weight local control, go Stable Diffusion. And if text and image is the job, go Ideogram 2.0 or Google Imagen 3, because Playground AI is the one tool that fixes the most pain points that drove you here in the first place. One thing that doesn't show up in the marketing: Midjourney's basic plan only includes roughly 200 generations per month, about 3.3 fast GPU hours, and there's no relax mode at that tier to stretch them further. So if you're doing real creative work, you'll hit that cap fast and find yourself on the $30 standard plan before you know it, which changes the price comparison with every alternative on this list. Now, if you're also looking at AI video and wondering whether the same switching logic applies there, I did the same breakdown for Kling, and the results are pretty different from what you'd expect. So that video is called Best Kling Alternatives for AI Video. And it's worth a look if video generation is part of your workflow, because the price gaps there are a lot wider than anything I just covered here.